September the 16th, 2013, CISG113, Section 3, Information Security and Privacy. We now return to section number 2 in T103. Here we got a chance to use the computer, and I showed my students the use of the Moodle environment. So allow me to show you, this is the homepage of the university. When you click on your students link, you will see somewhere here a particular link called web course. Okay, when you click on this web course, you'll be brought into this screen. Okay, this is the Moodle login screen. Now we're using Moodle 2.5, so you just click this side and you will be brought to a login dialog box like this. So you need to enter whatever that is before your email address at. Okay, so you'll have an email which starts, suppose at D12345. You just enter there, and then the password is your email password. So for me, this is my login ID, and of course I cannot tell you my password. And then after you log into this, okay, everybody is going to do that. You can see a bunch of courses. For example, you're taking 5 or 6 or 7 courses, and your course instructor have given you the access of the course environment in the Moodle environment. You will see a number of courses here. So this is Information Security and Privacy, Section 3. So you click this link, all right? So you're brought into this environment. In this environment, you will see that I have already put all the 14 weeks material of this course here. So you will have on the first block called the Learning Center syllabus. The syllabus you just read through, okay? But there are a lot of enactment details that you have to come back to this Moodle environment to understand what resources I have put there for you to understand. So we do have a theme songs in this particular course, and I have some basic information on class participations, class communications, on what you're supposed to do when you have anything in doubt, okay? You need to schedule an appointment with me, or you talk to me over the web, all right? So I will set some virtual office hour when you can actually talk with me, if it is convenient for you and also convenient for me. And then here is the GE handbook, which I highly recommend you to read it. And then here is the academic calendar for this semester. And there's some rules on handling student academic honesty. Very important from the perspective of the university. And for this particular semester onward, we also provide student disability support services. That means if you happen to be physically disabled, we still can offer some services for you to help you learn the best we could. And then I've also put some free tools there on English-Chinese dictionary to help you. The English dictionary, and also some free to take English courses to help you to speed up your understanding. And so each class, we have an attendance record. We'll come to do the attendance here. And we do have class announcement. As you can see here this morning, I've given you a teacher's message, which is already sent to your email and a university account. And then we do have a social forum for you to share your good ideas whenever you feel like to discuss a topic with the rest of your students for the whole class. You can come to this forum to pose your topic, and so each one from the class can respond to it. And finally, here is again the same link like this, all right? So for this week, this is week number 1. You can see that day number 1, which is today, Monday, and day number 2, which is Thursday. Okay, we're going to meet at J46, the classroom. We just been there about 30 minutes ago. And the core topic of this week is what is information security? What is information privacy? So I expect you to do some reading here. And how do you get to the reading? You come to this reading for week number 1. When you click on this, you will be brought to a website in which I have already put all the readings here. You are not supposed to finish reading all. No. It's too many for you to finish all. Okay? Your job is to select one from each of this, okay? You may select one which is different from your learning partner, okay? Select. And when you select one from this, you will see, wow, that one will lead to a lot of the other because I got all of these from the internet. The purpose of this GE course is to enable you to see the world, rich resources you can use, rather than just localize the learning to a textbook. But we still cherish the values of the textbook. Let me just give you an example. A lot of you understand the meaning of Wikipedia, right? It's a very popular encyclopedia online. It's even more popular as far as I am concerned now than the Encyclopedia Britannica. Okay? So when you click on this link, you will be brought to the Wikipedia page right here, where you can study the topic of information security. Okay? You can study it. Well, how do I study it? Well, let me give you an advice. You are not encouraged to remember them all. I do not encourage memorizations, all right? Read so as to understand. Oh, yeah. Have I told you in the first 30 minutes what is the basic attitude or skill that you need to acquire after this course? No, not yet. I keep that in mind. First, I expect you to be able to think. Everybody is doing some thinking. This is not a big problem. And then I expect you to adjust your thinking through reading. Capture something through your reading. And I expect you to express what you understood through writing. Okay? So think, read, and write. So the best way to see how much you can understand this is not to do copy and paste. Is to write your notes. Note-taking is not something new, right? You're supposed to do a lot of note-taking already during your secondary school. But when you do note-taking in a course like GE, it's not for memorizations, remember. Note-taking is for questioning. Questioning, okay? For example, if this is one page that you're supposed to finish reading, say you chose this page. What is there in this page that will get the most of your attention? Well, for me, I will look at the figure. And then I was trying to see if I could read the figure. And then at the end of that, you can see a lot of resources. Look at that, key concepts. Okay? You do not need to read them all, but you need to capture idea. Use that as a stimulus for you to understand the concept. What? Information security on this page. Where does it come from? Here. Okay? Read. At least for each week, you will have something like this, and I do not mean you read them all. As I said, select at least one topic here, one topic here, and read so as to have something for you to share with your learning partner. Oh, then what am I supposed to do? Okay, let's come back here. So each week, you will see at the very beginning, you have a teacher's message. I release the teacher's message at the beginning of each week. I have some reading for each week for you to explore something. And I also have some learn and practice for the first learning contract, because this is the beginning of your learning contract 1. You have 4 weeks for learning contract 1. Okay? Including this week, actually start next week. But since you're here, you need to look at it. Remember, you look at the schedule of the syllabus earlier. Okay? You have 3 learning contracts. Each learning contract lasts for 3 weeks, starting next week. And this is the very beginning week, so I still put the learning contracts here. So what you got here is some, just now when you go to have a big feast, you got some desserts, okay, before you come to the main course. The main course of this week is day 01, day 02. Today is day 01, okay? In day 01, I want you to know something very specific about this course. And from reading, the learning syllabus that I share with you in the first half hour of this class, you know something about what you need to do. Here, you know some more details about how this course is going to be. For example, the calendar of this course. When you click the calendar link, you'll be brought into this picture here. You'll have week 1, week 2, up to week 14. Okay? And so you see the topics allocated to each week. And then you also see the learning contract, where you are. Okay? Forgot which week I am. What I'm supposed to do, come back to this calendar. And you know that, for example, I'm somewhere here, oh, I should be doing learning contract too. When should I submit my first learning contract, second learning contract, third learning contract? Look at this. And go back to this. The whole week here, you can submit your work. The whole week here, you can submit your work. The whole week here, you can submit your work. And this is the last week, you need to submit your work. So you need to submit your work 4 times the first free learning contract plus your portfolio. Okay? Week number 4, week number 7, week number 10, and week number 13. You got it? This is the calendar. Alright? Suppose you were right here. So I'm going to tell you. Next, you need to look at the readings. These are the readings for the first 10th, 11th week. Okay? Basically, the first 10 bits are the most important. You go to click this link, you will be brought to the reading list for that week. As I said, select at least 1 item on each week's reading to explore it on your own, to get yourself prepared for your soul time. We'll give you soul time, remember that. Alright? Each person not more than 5 minutes, or 2 persons not more than 5 minutes, as you can see. After reading, let's come to the submissions. What you need to submit? I just told you, week number 4, learning contract 1, why specific submission linked on the Moodle environment, which is done by individual students. If you have a team of 4 persons, each one of you in your team has to submit it by yourself. Okay? No personal submission, no grade. Okay? Very important. You cannot just rely on your partner to submit it. Each one of you need to submit it. Each of the free learning contract, you have to do it individually on your own. Okay? And then we have assessment. Here you can see a much more clear picture of how we're going to assess the work. 10% for the first learning contract, 10% second learning contract, 10% for the third learning contract, and the learning portfolio 20%, reading and collaborative activity 15%, midterm exam 15%, and final exam 20%. And again, I'm going to ask you, do you want to have a final exam at the end of the first 4 weeks? And you're going to tell me, if you want it, I'm going to keep it. If you don't want it, then you need to propose to me how are you going to share the 20% from the final percents to the different number of items here. Okay? So you have to think about it. You need to discuss it. This is very interesting. You have to design your own learning experience. And then you have the learning design for this course. The learning design for this course, which is not mentioned in the first half an hour, it's now elaborated to you. Basically, we have very interesting concept. First learning contract is based on inquiry-based learning. We call it IBL. Inquiry-based learning, IBL, is for your first learning contract. That means you need to learn how to ask questions. Okay? The second learning contract is built on the IBL, and then we call it self-regulated learning, SRL. That means you need to manage your learning well in terms of time and effort. And you have to manage it in such a way to accomplish the goal. Very important for you in your college study. So the first two contracts, the first contract is based on inquiry-based learning, asking questions. The second learning contract is based on self-regulated learning, managing yourself to accomplish your goal. Very important. And the third learning contract is based on problem-based learning, which is basically done by a group of people who has a self-directed mode of work. Very important, that's why we say it's collaborations. Each of these learning contracts is intended to develop in each one of you the core capability to learn. Okay? Traditionally speaking, in high school environment, we teach you to learn. And on the other hand, we say you are taught to learn. But in college, you must learn to learn. How do we do that? We learn by doing it. Okay? How are we going to learn it? By doing it. Okay, very good. At the end of doing that, remember you need to put your accomplishment together in not this rubber band, in a profile, in a portfolio. That is the time when you have to integrate what you've learned from the 3 different contracts into your portfolio, and what we call integrative learning. Integrative learning, IL. So in this GE course, you are actually going through a learning journey based on information security and privacy as the discipline or subject, to experience how you can learn to learn by experiencing one, inquiry-based learning, asking the essential questions. By self-regulated learning, managing yourself to accomplish your learning goals. By problem-based learning, helping yourself to learn problem solving. Okay? The appropriate way. And at the end of that, collect your results together, put it in your portfolio. That is an example of integrative learning. Actually, this is what you need to do again and again in each course of your college study before you can graduate at the end of 4 years. Okay? So it's a microcosm of what you're supposed to experience in a 4 years college study. And that is the distinction between GE and major courses. Sometimes in major courses, because we're so much content-oriented, we do not tell you so explicitly, this is what you need to go through. But unfortunately, if we do not tell you explicitly, this is what you need to go through, you live and learn the learn-to-learn process. But in this course, GE, we want you to be fully aware of this. And that's why we need to set up general education courses to help you. Okay? Soft power together with knowledge. Very important. So this is the learning design. And we come to the learning practice. Well, as I told you, I've given you a lot of the reading material which is not based on your textbook. But it does not mean I do not want you to study from your textbook. I told you one way to acquire the material from the textbook from the library, and if you do, follow these learning practice plan that I divided for you. From learning contract number 1, learning contract number 2, and learning contract number 3. Okay? When you click into each one of these, you will have something you need to learn the basics. And then you will have something you can practice with your learning partner. Again, these are not compulsory assignment. These are very valuable pointer for you to study. For example, you have this book. Chapter 1 of this book is called Introduction to Computer Security. Normally, when you have a textbook with you, what do you do? What do you do? So, as a teacher, this is what I have given you on each one of these. I give you the learning objective so that you just use the minimum amount of time to understand the meaning, the most important points in that chapter. I've given you some key ideas which is able to enable you to provide suggestions of what you want to do. And I've given you the chapter outline so that you can see at a glance each chapter by itself is actually an essay put together by the author by composing material from different sources, which is just like what you're reading is. And of course, I've given you key terms. So it does not take long for you to enjoy reading one chapter, because all those informations are usable informations. You just need to use the minimum amount of time to do it. And so, that is an example of learn and practice. So after that, you can also see we light on your online activities on the Moodle environment to help keep track of your learning. So that means you don't just read it and say, I read it, I read it already. Well, your learning partner is going to ask you, so you read it. So that means you have spent time there. So be something so that I don't need to spend the same amount of time to do it again. So your learning journals are very important. Your discussion forum with your learning partner is very important. And later on, your collaborative writing on the wikis of the UN Moodle environment together with your partners are very important. It's just like I have a blank piece of paper and you need to write on that something, your partner need to write on that something, and then you have to edit it. Okay? I'm going to tell you more about this. So you can see that time is very important. When you have to do all of these, you need to spend time. And my advice for you as a student of this course is each week between 4 to 6 hours, good enough. Don't spend more than 6 each week. Okay? Look at that. This is the pointer. You spend 1 hour per week on reading. Scan through it, capture important information. You spend 1 hour per week on journaling. Okay? And you spend 1 hour per week on doing discussion forum with your friend, learning partner. And you spend later on in studying for the second learning contract 1 hour per week doing collaborative writing and report writing, as well as you must have 1 hour each week for face-to-face meeting, which is done normally in class using our first 1/2 hour period. Okay? So make sure you remember the time management I advised you. So if I'm going to spend 1 hour per week doing reading, so how am I going to slice that 1 hour for each day of my reading? Maybe someone will do 10 minutes per piece, and I add 10 minutes together, I have 1 hour. So when I'm going to do this 10 minutes reading on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday with some records. Okay? Very important. And then you also need to do classroom participations, as I mentioned. Starting from next week, you will have 30 minutes on each class period that some of you is going to come up. Each one of you is going to use not more than 5 minutes. So on each class period, the second half, 30 minutes, will be devoted to your sharing of your discovery. Okay? And of course, I will have a sign-up sheet. If the sign-up sheet is empty, then I'm going to do a random drawing. Okay? When your name is drawn, then you need to come up here to do 5 minutes. So you better get yourself prepared for at least a 5 minutes pitch. Recorded pitch on what you have learned for that week. Based on the reading there, based on the material there. So 5 minutes as a pitch is not that difficult. And that the meaning behind this is to make sure you know that this is one way to make sure you will get prepared before you come to class. You see that? So you do not know if you will be the persons randomly assigned unless you actively sign up. Okay? But when everybody of you actively sign up, We do not have as many slots as possible to give you. We do have to come back to random assignment. But that meaning behind that is each one of you will be highly motivated to do that, for more than prepared to do that for that 5 minutes time. And you can also join hands with other of your learning partner to do that 5 minutes. So read that classroom participations. Right here, you will see my teacher's message by the end of this week, giving you a sign-up sheet. If I see it's empty, then I'm going to do random assignment at the beginning of the class next week, all right? So this is the classroom participations. And the classroom management, I've just told you, each class is divided into 3 periods of 30 minutes. The first 30 minutes normally I give you important idea, what you have to get yourself prepared. The second 30 minutes devoted to your sharing, and the last 30 minutes devoted to housekeeping, helping you to manage yourself, pinpoint your core ideas to do something. I will tell you more about the report that you need to write at the end of each learning contract, because these will make sure you understand how to put things together. Normally, the report itself is easy. Each learning contract is going to end with an individual proposal. Very simple, but very important. Each one of you, when you submit your learning contract at the end of each period, you need to submit an individual proposal. Very simple. On what you want to do in the next 3 weeks. Okay? In terms of what you want to accomplish using what material based on the resources on your course side. Okay? How much time you're going to use it. What are the relevant sources you have discovered about it. Remember, I told you, you need to tell me what you want to do to earn your score. Okay? So everything is very fluid. It depends very much on your initiative. So you can see that. Finally, it's the classroom management is okay, so this is the course home. Alright? So you can come to this web page to learn something more about the course. And of course, here it is. I still have something for you like this. This is a representative week, other than the reading material, that I would like you to study. Boy, there's so much thing to study. Watch. Normally, each one of those resources is a YouTube video. Okay? It's not more than 5 minutes normally, but it will give you the best interest in terms of what you need to study based on the topic of that week. So you will have a lot of idea next to you to tailor your proposal, to put together the topic of that week based on the syllabus and your goal you set on top of that. Okay? So understand that, unfortunately, I need to make sure that it is not mute. Yeah, don't worry much about it when you watch it at home. It's always the sounds here. So make sure you understand that these are the format of each week. Each week you will have some information at the top. For each particular date, you have some related informations. And then we do have important information for you to use. Let me just make sure that you will see the same wheel as I see. This is the student's wheel. Okay? Instructor's wheel is a little different. Look at that at the end of each block. I've given you your online learning journal. You can click into this particular link. Then there is an editor for you. You can type on the editor. That is your electronic notebook. Okay? And this is the public discussion forum for the whole class. So if you type something here, the whole class can see that. And later on, I'm going to give you a discussion forum for the 2 of you in your pair once you've given me your learning partner before the end of next week through email. Okay? And then I've also given you some very important hints of each week of what you need to focus on in order to get that material over. And finally, starting from today until the end of this week, I want you to complete this survey on first day of class. Very simple, 5 questions, but it's very important for me to understand you more. So I think I've finished talking to you about the basic of our web. Because when you look at the rest of this, it will be the second week, okay, the third week, until the end of the 14th week. All of these is already there. That means you do not need to wait for me to give you the material. It's already there. But our job is to help you to make the best use of the material there, to accomplish something which you are going to produce. Okay? Your learning portfolio. How are you going to produce it? You do it step by step. At the end of the first contract, at the end of the second contract, at the end of the third contract. And what are you supposed to do? Read the instructions, the guidelines there, and decide on what you are going to produce. Okay? It's a little bit different from the traditional course. You need to always ask yourself questions, okay, based on the topic given. So I hope I have finished giving you enough for today, and so I'm going to stop video recording, and maybe I'm going to entertain some questions using the remaining 10 minutes.